Hello and welcome to lesson 12-2. Here we're going to be working on converting customary units of capacity. So our last lesson focused on length. This lesson is going to focus on capacity. Now, before we get started with our notes and guided practice, once again, we are going to start with our short lesson video.
How do you convert customary units of capacity? Think about this question during the lesson. Sue is making punch. She needs 3 3/4 cups of orange juice and 5 pints of lemonade. How many fluid ounces of orange juice and how many quarts of lemonade does she need?
You can multiply or divide to get from one unit of capacity to a different one.
Okay, before we move on, I want you to stop and take a look at these measurement conversions. So 1 gallon is equal to 4 quarts. 1 quart is equal to 2 pints. 1 pint is equal to 2 cups. And 1 cup is equal to 8 fluid ounces.
To change a larger unit to a smaller unit, multiply. 3 3/4 cups equals how many fluid ounces? Will the number of fluid ounces be less than or greater than 8?
Select your answer.
The number of fluid ounces will be greater than 8. How do you know this? There are 8 fluid ounces in 1 cup, so 3 3/4 cups will be more than 8 fluid ounces. Multiply 3 3/4 times 8. So 3 3/4 cups equals 30 fluid ounces. To change a smaller unit to a larger unit, divide. 5 pints equals how many quarts? 2 pints equals 1 quart. Find 5 divided by 2. 5 divided by 2 equals 5 halves, and 5 halves equals 2 1/2. So 5 pints equals 2 1/2 quarts. Why does it make sense that it takes fewer quarts than pints to equal the same amount of lemonade?
So here, go back and think about those unit conversions. Why is it fewer quarts than pints? Well, pints are a smaller unit of measure, and quarts are a larger unit of measure. So there are 2 pints in each quart. So the number of quarts is going to be less than the number of pints, only because quarts are bigger sized pieces. They're bigger units.
Since a quart container is larger than a pint container, it takes fewer quarts to equal the same amount of lemonade. Now you know how to convert customary units of capacity.
All right, let's go ahead and get into our notes and our guided practice together. Now, our notes for this week are going to cover customary units of capacity. And our focus question is, how do you convert customary units of capacity? So just like converting units of length, we multiply or divide to convert between them. But first, let's take a step back. What is capacity? Capacity is how much you can fit inside a particular container, like how much juice fits in a juice box or how much water fits in a bathtub. You're measuring the capacity. How much can you fill it up with until it's completely full? Now, our unit conversions here, 1 gallon, just like we saw in the video, is equal to 4 quarts. And quarts, this is where the word quarter comes from. And we know quarters are 1/4 size pieces. So 1 gallon is broken up into 4 pieces, which are called quarts. That makes sense so far. Now, 1 quart is broken up into 2 pints. 1 pint is broken up into 2 cups, and 1 cup is made up of 8 fluid ounces. Now, the reason we say fluid ounces, there's a reason for that, because ounces is used for measuring weight, but fluid ounces are specifically talking about kinds of liquid. When we're talking about liquids, fluid refers to something that is free flowing, specifically a liquid. So when we say fluid ounces, we know we're talking about some kind of liquid, water, juice, milk, whatever it is. Now, just like with converting units of length, we convert from large to small units of capacity. We multiply, and when we convert from small to large units, we divide. Let's take a look at an example. It says a recipe makes 16 cups of soup. How many quarts does the recipe make? So before I get started, I want to ask myself, what do I already know? I know that 1 pint is 2 cups and 1 quart is 2 pints, which is the same thing as 4 cups. And I know that the recipe made a total of 16 cups. So I can do 16 divided by 2. I can take those 16 cups and divide them by 2 to figure out how many pints there are. And then that tells me I have 8 pints. And then I can take those 8 pints and divide them by 2 again to figure out that there are 4 quarts. Or now that I already know that 1 quart is equal to 4 cups, I can just do the 16 divided by 4 and find my 4 quarts that way. And then I always do the inverse operation to check my work. So here I did 4 times 4 equals 16. So the recipe makes 4 quarts of soup. Let's take a look at some more examples. This next example asks, how many cups are in 5 gallons? So now, so far, what I know is 1 gallon is equal to 4 quarts, which is equal to 8 pints. I know 1 pint is equal to 2 cups. So 1 gallon is going to be 2 times those 8 pints. So there's 2 cups in those 2 cups in each of those 8 pints, and that's going to give me 16 cups. So 1 gallon is equal to 4 quarts, which is equal to 8 pints, which is equal to 16 cups. Now, if I want to find out how many cups are going to be in 5 gallons, so I know there's 16 cups in 1 gallon, then I'm going to take that 16 and multiply it by 5 to figure out how many cups there are in 5 gallons. And I found that 16 times 5 gave me 80 cups. So there are 80 cups in 5 gallons. And again, remember, when you're moving from a large unit like gallons to a small unit like cups, you want to multiply because there are a lot of cups in a gallon. Cups are small units, so a lot of them will fit inside of a bigger unit. All right, let's take a look at some more examples. Our next one says the class aquarium holds 2 gallons of water. How many cups is this? How many fluid ounces? So let's stop and think about what we know. I know that 1 gallon is 4 quarts, which is the same thing as 8 pints, which is the same thing as 16 cups. And I know that 1 cup is equal to 8 fluid ounces. So now I can start to solve. So 2 gallons in cups is going to be 2 times the 16 cups in 1 gallon, which is going to give me 32 gallons. Now, if I want to do those 2 gallons in fluid ounces, I'm going to take those 32 cups and multiply them by 8 fluid ounces each. And that's going to give me 256 fluid ounces. So the 2 gallon aquarium holds 32 cups or 256 fluid ounces of water. Let's take a look at one more example before we jump into our guided practice. This one says, Carrie has 3 gallons of paint. Brian has 10 quarts of paint. How many more pints does Carrie have than Brian? Or sorry, this is supposed to say how many more quarts does Carrie have than Brian? I apologize for the typo. So I know that Carrie has 3 gallons and Brian has 10 quarts. And 1 gallon is equal to 4 quarts. So first I need to solve my hidden question. My hidden question is, I need to find out how many quarts are in Carrie's 3 gallons of paint, because I need to be using the same type of unit when I am converting from one, or when I'm comparing units of measurement. I can't compare them if they're different size pieces. So I have to first make them the same size piece before I can do that comparison. So I'm going to change her gallons into quarts. So I know there's 4 quarts in 1 gallon. So I'm going to take her 3 gallons times 4 to figure out how many quarts she has. And 3 times 4 gave me 12. So she has 12 quarts and Brian has 10 quarts. And 12 take away 10 is going to give me 2. So Carrie has 2 more quarts than Brian. So over here, this is meant to say quarts. And this is not supposed to say pints, so I apologize for the typo there. All right, next let's take a look at our guided practice together. Your first guided practice question says, why would you change 4 gallons and 5 quarts into 5 gallons and 1 quart? Well, since we know that each gallon is 4 quarts, we're going to take a group of 4 out of that 5 and convert it into a gallon. That's going to be 1 whole. And then I'll have 1 extra quart left over, so it'll be 5 gallons and 1 quart. Number 2 asks, why is 1/8 cup equal to 1 fluid ounce? Well, if I know that each cup is going to be 8 fluid ounces, 1/8 out of that, or 1 out of 8, the 1 out of the 8 parts is going to be 1 fluid ounce. For numbers 3 through 8, we're going to do some unit conversions, and I'm showing you the work that I did on the side as well as additional notes that I used to help me remember those conversions. So for number 3, I had 32 cups that I wanted to convert into gallons. So I remembered that 1 gallon was 16 cups. So 32 cups divided by 16 gave me 2. So 32 cups is equal to 2 gallons. Half a quart, I want to convert to gallons. So half a quart, I know half a quart is equal to 1 pint, and 1 gallon is equal to 8 pints. So half divided by 4, right? Because there are 4 quarts in 1 gallon. I'm going to flip that. I'm going to keep my 1/2. I'm going to change my division into multiplication, and I'm going to flip my 4 or 4/1 into 1/4. So 1/2 times 1/4 gave me 1/8. So 1/2 quart is equal to 1/8 of a gallon, because remember there are 8 pints in a gallon. So 1/2 of a quart is 1 pint. So it's 1 out of 8, 1/8 gallon. My next question is 48 quarts is equal to how many pints? So I know that 1 quart is equal to 2 pints. So 48 times 2, because I'm going from a bigger unit to a smaller one, 48 times 2 is going to give me 96. So there are 96 pints in 48 quarts. Next, I have 6 1/8. So 6 1/8 quart is equal to how many cups? Now, this I did in parts. So I know that 1 quart is equal to 4 cups. So I did 6 times 4, and then I was going to add to it 1/8 times 4. So I took my 6 1/8 and I split it up so I could find partial products first. That made it a bit easier for me. So 6 times 4 was 24. 1/8 times 4 is 1/2. So that left me with 24 1/2 cups. So 6 1/8 quart gave me 24 1/2 cups. Number 7 says 3 quarts and 1 pint is equal to how many pints? So again, I did this in parts. I did the 3 times the 2 because 1 quart is equal to 2 pints. So 3 times 2 gave me 6 pints, plus that 1 extra pint that they told me about equaled 7. So 3 quarts and 1 pint is equal to 7 pints. Now for number 8, they wanted us to convert into quarts and pints and then just quarts. So 9 pints is equal to how many quarts and pints? So 9 divided by 2 is going to give me 4.5. So 4 quarts and 1 pint, or 4.5 quarts. That takes us to the end of our guided practice for this lesson. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.